Do I want migraines? No, I don't. It was like you get an attack and you want to fight it back. There are some people who would want to shut the door, put something on their eyes and sleep. I would have loved to do that, but my ambition would not let me. For me, it was quite hard to let go of and relax. Initially, I started off with maybe headache once a week, but then it became twice a week and thrice a week, and every attack would be like at least 2 days. You pop in pills, sometimes it goes. Yeah, sometimes it goes, sometimes it doesn't. See, because I'm a patient myself, right? And I don't care if I'm one of the statistics or I'm just one single person on this planet. My suffering is my suffering and it's real. And it's not just me suffering, it's my children suffering, it's my family suffering, it's my work suffering, right? I knew the kind of determination and the will that I needed to get through with the migraine. When I used to have those migraines and I would go back home, as a physician I was all there, but I didn't have energy for the kids. That was a little tiring. Because at like 2 toddlers, I think 2010 my daughter was also there. She was 2.5. So yeah, so 3 kids, a bedridden mother-in-law, and you know you want to do more, but you just can't. And you do feel bad. I'm not sure if I was ashamed, but I was not very happy with myself. Louise says that every thought pattern has a probable cause to an illness. So when I read headaches, it read something about perfectionism. It said that people who are cursed with perfectionism often have migraines and headaches. At that point of time, I just thought that being a perfectionist, being on time, raising perfect kids, having perfect practice is a way of life. And if it is not that way, then you just have to work hard towards getting it better. And the way you get it better is to always look for what's wrong and to always be critical of that. To be fair, I think my parents also did not discourage that. There was a lot of encouragement in the society also, that if you're hard on yourself, then you're a good doctor.
Hello. Pain, and that's the series that we continue. How do you rise from pain? Do you keep rising from pain? And how pain is so unique to you, whether you are a human being, whether you're a mother, whether you're a father, whether you feel whoever you are, your pain, your story is so unique to you. Today we talk to Deval. Deval's a physician, a doctor, and we understand her journey of how she overcome her stories of pain and how she was really able to uncover what's hidden, the emotions, the trauma hidden behind it. And welcome, Deval.
Hi Hitesh.
Hey, I'm going to call you Deval, and I hope that's okay.
Please do that.
Thank you so much. So Deval, you talk about your pain and your migraine, and how did you really feel when you had? I mean, do you call them attacks? I really don't know, but how did you really feel when you had these bouts of migraine coming in your space?
Can I go a little backstory? Yeah. So basically, I'm a physician by profession. I've been type A. We don't use that term anymore, but common man still understands it as a type A personality, do it all, get it all done, that kind of a person. And back, I think in 2005 and 6, it was my 8th year of medical practice, 8th or 9th year of medical practice. And you know how medical practice is, GPs are, we are working all the time. And the headaches had started, but I clearly thought I was a mom. I had 2 children back then, a bedridden mother-in-law, quite a heavy practice, quite ambitious, always wanted to learn more, do more, offer more to my patients. And meals were the first ones to get skipped. There was always an overdose of coffee. There's always too much sun, there's too much traffic, there's so much stress in the city. So I really thought that headaches are just an outcome of or a consequence of a lifestyle that I chose for myself. So for me, it was pretty much that you pop in a pill, you get done with it, then you move on to the next step. So there was nothing that was honestly stopping me at that point of time. Do I want migraines? No, I don't.
I don't think anybody does.
Yeah,
right?
Nobody wants it, right? But it was like you get an attack and you want to fight it back. There are some people who would want to shut the door, put something on their eyes and sleep. I would have loved to do that, but my ambition would not let me. So yeah, for me it was quite hard to let go of and relax. And initially I started off with maybe headache once a week, but then it became twice a week.
Wow.
and thrice a week, and every attack would be like at least 2 days. You pop in pills. Sometimes
2
it
days?
goes. Yeah, sometimes it goes. Sometimes it doesn't. So I was like, I literally had a conversation with my head. I said, you do you, I do me. And you can do whatever you want to do, but I'm not going to stop. And there were bouts of vomiting. I could not take noise, but I had my meditation music. So I would just listen to it a little bit and then go to the next patient. Because patients always came first. Children always came first. The chores always came first. So that's how it was. And that's how it was from 2006, I guess, 5 or 6, and for several years.
And that's what really happens in migraine. And I mean, I can ask you this question. What
So you
really
want a doctor's perspective or patient's perspective?
I want both. I want all the perspectives. I want the husband's perspective. I want the children's perspective.
Oh my God, husband's perspective is going to be like, touch her not, like just leave her alone.
Oh my
types.
God, is that bad?
Yeah. Migraines are, when it comes to pain management, migraine attacks are supposed to be one of the most painful ones, attacks after gout. You usually get an aura. You usually know that when it's going to come. And a migraine patient usually knows that when a migraine is coming.
Achha, itna
Yeah. But very often what happens is that a migraine patient also says that जो होगा देखा जाएगा. And कुछ लोग होते हैं जो immediately दवाई ले लेते हैं. कुछ लोग होते हैं जो painkiller पे painkiller बाद में लेते हैं. So migraine is an underdiagnosed condition as doctors. Some people have vomiting in migraine. Sometimes you cannot hear any sound. You get very irritable. You don't want light on your face. Like these bright lights are horrible. You want to stay in a dark, quiet place. And most of the times you just want to sleep it off.
Okay. That one I've heard, that you want to
you just want to sleep it off. The room is shut, the door is shut, the air conditioning is on, and you just want to sleep it off.
In a dark room.
In a dark room, correct.
And do you know why that happens?
Well, physiologically, there are lots of reasons, but I don't think so. That is what I am here for,
Absolutely.
to share.
Then that's what I'm sure that's a part of it.
Yeah, because see, physiologically, we had ruled out all causes. My friend was a neurologist, is a neurologist, so we ruled out if it isn't. Because I used to always get headaches in the mornings. Early mornings, I would wake up and I would get headaches. And when I'm entering my clinic, I would get a headache. And then the headache would stay. Then I know that, okay, first I used to call it the Monday morning blues. But then gradually I realized that they're not leaving on Wednesday either. So then I was like, okay, now you want to stay here permanently?
So
be
they're
my
like the
guest.
WTF blues.
Yeah, then now you just stay here, but I'm not going to stop.
Okay.
So that is how it was. So we ruled out, my father's an Ayurvedacharya. So he had his own theory of Pitta, Vata, whatever. I did not believe in that bullshit. I call it bullshit is because that's what I did at that time. But Ayurveda did not work. Allopathy did not work. Homeopathy did not work. Allopathy worked once in a while because I think I had faith in it. But again, it was only once the attack has happened, then I would suffer and then it would work.
So you have to live with it. It's like...
Yeah. I mean, you live with the husband, you live with migraine kind of a thing.
No, I wouldn't. I'm sure your husband wouldn't like saying that. But
No, just kidding.
I'm
but
sure,
yeah,
I'm sure.
at that point of time, you just learn to live with it. Because you have
It's
choices.
like the extramarital spouse, right? You've got your husband who's loving and caring, and you have another partner.
No.
With
With that extramarital, I can drop.
Achha,
This
here
I
you
can't
can't.
drop,
Okay,
right?
yeah,
So
you
it's
can't.
very
You're stuck with
different.
it.
You're stuck with it. I would call it this way is that it's that part of your body that you have to live with. So it's kind of, you make friends with it, you don't make friends with it. You have to choose, what do you want? Do you want to suffer through it? Do you want to survive through it?
And you live with it for life, actually, right?
Well,
Most people do.
allopathically, yeah.
Yes.
That's what we tell patients. We tell them that take prophylactic medications and it'll be fine.
And how long have you been free from migraine?
So where are we? 2024, right? So I think, so it's interesting that how I got myself cured from migraine and now how migraine is a visitor. And how, after I found Louise's book, and I mean, I'll tell you that story too, but after I found that reason behind how migraine, what is the probable cause behind migraine, then I've exactly always been able to find out when am I going to get my next migraine attack. And that is very interesting.
So when you know the visitor is visiting, you can just shut the door.
Not necessarily. I can change the patterns.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you can just avoid the visit overall, basically.
Correct. I can do that.
Wow. And how long has that been?
I can. Since 2008, 2007
Wow.
and 8. So 7 and 8, when I started discovering my patterns behind my migraine, is by 10 and 11, I think by 11, it was completely gone. So 7, 8, 9, 2007, 8, 9, 3 to 4 years I had it. Then from 10 to 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, since then I don't have migraines. And now I can actually say that migraine is just a visitor, comes once in 2 years,
Wow.
once in a year. And I exactly know when I'm going to get it.
So that's almost 15, 16 years free of.
Correct. Yeah.
And how many people do you think would aspire to hit that number?
Well, numbers is not my game, but I think if one patient gets it, I'll be happy to share my story.
I'm sure there are.
And
So do you have any data? I don't, and I would love to find out that data. How many people in this?
I'm
world-
sorry, but I'm not a data person. I haven't done the research on data.
As how many people do you meet who tell you
Oh, of course. Every week in our OPDs, we have patients with migraines and we write them
1 in
migraines.
10,
And
1 in
we can,
20?
I would not quote a number to that, but I just know that, see, because I'm a patient myself, right?
Of
and
course.
I don't care if I'm one of the statistics or I'm just one single person on this planet. My
Right.
suffering is my suffering and it's real.
Yeah.
And it's not just me suffering, it's my children suffering, it's my family suffering, it's
Of
my
course.
work suffering.
Of course.
Right? I knew the kind of determination and the will that I needed to get through with the migraine.
Wow.
Because I didn't want to do injustice to my patients. I didn't want to do, I mean,
the
my
family-
children they have had it. I mean, my patients were the only area where I was really I didn't care if I popped in 3 pills, but saw my patients through.
Yeah, but that's our conditioning, right?
Yeah,
That,
the
you know,
children were like, ठीक है ना, 1-2 थप्पड़ पड़ गए तो क्या ही फर्क पड़ जाता है.
यहाँ 911 तो चलता नहीं है तो क्या करेंगे बेचारे.
Yeah,
But
back when the kids were young, I think you did your best you could.
Yeah, but that's such a beautiful perspective you brought out, that it's not you who suffers. Your family, your parents, your children, your spouse, and if you live in India, your maids, which is an integral part of our system today.
Yeah. And I really feel that, I mean, the number of people who suffer through migraine, the number of work hours that are missed out on. And most importantly, Hitesh, what I really wish to bring forth to the audience is that it's not just your physical body suffering. It's also
Very
like a
emotional.
small little defeat that you have to yourself. That now you're just waiting that when will the next migraine come? I hope it does not come on the wedding day.
Of course.
I remember my husband and I, back then when the kids were young, he used to constantly complain that you're always working. And we decided that we'll go Friday dinner dates. Okay, so the kids would be at my mom's and he and I would plan out a dinner. And all I'm thinking entire Thursday and Friday, I hope I don't fuck this up. I hope I don't get a migraine attack. I hope I don't get a headache. I can't drink a glass of wine. I can't eat chocolate. I would literally plan my Wednesday, Thursday, Friday so that I don't get a headache. And invariably, at least once in a month, I would get. And it's not nice.
It's not nice, of course.
It's not nice.
Yeah. It's emotionally upsetting, physically, mentally.
Exactly.
I think in every way it impacts your life.
Of
right?
course. Yeah.
Wow.
I think since 5th grade, I knew I'm only a doctor and nothing else.
Wow. But when you decided, how was the family reaction?
I think, okay, they didn't, I mean, there was not much. My uncle was a doctor, my mama. We are now a family and we have several doctors in our family, but I was the first one in the cousins. My mama was the first in his cousins. So it is a noble profession. My parents never objected because they thought that, okay, good, Gujaratis में काम करने नहीं मिलेगा.
तो
अगर डॉक्टर है तो
चल जाएगा.
कुछ ना कुछ तो कर ही लेगी. Types.
And do you think that when you went to medical school and you looked at, I mean, of course, there's a persona around doctors, right? Tie पहनते हैं, doctor ladies साड़ी पहनती है, एकदम prim and proper होते हैं. And they're not anything like you, right? They're not the rebel.
It's
I haven't seen a rebel doctor, right?
No, all doctors are rebels.
Okay.
All doctors are rebels.
I mean, I'm at the wrong doctor.
Yeah, no, all doctors are rebelled at heart. I don't think so. We can do medicine. You can see the number of deaths that you've seen. You can see the number of things that you see. It bloody defies everything. You kind of question everything that you've learned. But I think when it comes to practice, a lot of them tone down to kind of, what is expected and how do you dress up and
So
stuff.
behind closed hospitals, we see rave parties. And
Yeah. No, I would not say rave parties, but yeah. I think
we see
pretty much
doctors doing
everyone's...
striptease and dancing on tables.
Everyone's a child at heart, yeah. And I think
course.
who doesn't want to have fun, yeah, why not?
But I think that the practice and the perception that the industry persona builds, that you have to have a serious face. You really can't be a cool, fun person.
Correct.
So that's like a
an
persona.
image a stereotypical image that people have trapped you in. So I used to, so when I had my private clinic in 2001, I think, in Andheri, and I used to wear my ripped jeans, my white shirts, and it was a shirt. It was not a t-shirt. So that was good enough for me. And my father used to get very angry. Who wears sneakers at hospital, clinic mein? Apron kahan hai? And ripped jeans kaun pehanta hai? So he... remember there was this one time when वो आया था name plate English में और हिंदी में दोनों में लिखना है. Right? That rule had come, right?
Yes.
English or Marathi.
It was always there.
Hindi or
but
Marathi.
I think one political party just carried it as an agenda. and
Like
took it.
otherwise you'll...
Yes.
So that time I had to do my entire this. And I had a huge clinic. So it was like a huge, long board. So my father bribed that fellow, that painter, and he wrote Mrs. in bracket. And in Hindi, Shrimati, Dr. Deval Doshi, because he was quite convinced that I don't look like a Shrimati. And plus, I am also a sexologist. I also studied sexual health and medicine. So he was very angry with that also. So yeah, I have patients who used to come and tell me, like, Doctor Sahab hai? I was like, baitho thodi der. Then I'd go inside and then I'll wait for 5 minutes and then I'll call them, haan, Doctor Sahab aa gaya, bandar aa jao.
But that's a fun journey.
It is fun because I think my patients also loved me for that. And it gave them the freedom to open up. It gave them the freedom to be themselves, talk about their families, talk about their things, talk about what's really bothering them. And it's interesting. My father used to always think that, people will not respect you, but I think they really loved me. They still do. And I think authenticity always touches this. It's beyond your clothes and the demeanor and what you carry.
So as a doctor, were there lows when your patients don't heal, when their wounds, you're not able to help them?
Of course. So many of them. Like, how do you think a doctor, not a day goes by when you're not thinking about your patients.
When you realize that the medicines aren't helping.
I don't know if I call it a low. I think I was quite insatiable. I'd always want more.
So really want to help them.
Yeah, I want to help them in the sense like it would hurt my prescription if I have to write an antibiotic when I'm not sure if I should or not. Or I have to write a painkiller. I would not want to do that. So I would always, I have to write it because that's the need of the hour. But I would always see is there something else that I can do for them?
So if you saw a patient who was in terrible pain and you couldn't help them, what would you feel in those times? Like painkiller bhi diya, pain nahi ho raha hai, and the patient keeps coming back with the same problem. It's, you've done the medicine work, but the problem isn't going away. One
thing about, I think I really appreciate that about myself. I was very open to trying new things. So I would tell them that I don't think so. I shy away from admitting that I don't know. If I don't know, I don't know. And if I made a mistake, I made a mistake. I would be very, not happy, but I would not be ashamed of myself if I said that I don't know. There's no ego there. I would call up my consultant. I would find out more. I would ask for help. And I would also tell the patient that I'm going to read up more on this. Back then, I knew only medicine. So I would read up all the possible medicine that I could have. But then my migraine led me to this.
That was my next question. Yeah. So then when you said you had a couple of years, right? In fact, more than a couple of years when the migraine lasted. And did you read up? Did you go to consultants to figure out what?
Correct. I did go to consultants. But like I said, as doctors, self-care was not on my agenda.
So doctors don't believe in self-care?
No, that's not true. I don't think so.
You didn't believe as a doctor?
It's not that I didn't believe.
But in the list of priorities...
I thought I was already taking care of myself.
So as you say,
So
I did what I knew.
exactly, I did what I knew, and more importantly, I am so grateful to my migraine. Because
I'm sure you can say that now. But if the 29 or sorry,
to
2027,
2007 and all, yeah, I would not say that.
yeah, what would you say to if the 2007 Deval was sitting over here and I was the migraine, what would she tell me? Like no barriers.
I would have just said is that, dude, I know you're here, and I'm going to give you a tough one.
And I'm
So
sure
you
you
know
did.
it or you don't, I'm winning. So you can stay as long as you want,
But
but
I'm
I'm winning.
Was there a time that that you really broke down? It was. What was the toughest phase with this
I think
migraine?
the toughest phase was when I used to have those migraines and I would go back home. As a physician, I was all there, but I didn't have energy for the kids.
That's a
That
tough
was
one.
a little tiring. Because at like 2 toddlers, I think 2010, my daughter was also there. She was 2.5. So yeah, so 3 kids, a bedridden mother-in-law, and you want to do more, but you just can't, and you snap at your husband when there's no reason to. You fuck up a date when there's no reason to. I'm sorry, am I used
That's okay, please.
like, okay. And you do feel bad. I'm not sure if I was ashamed, but I was not very happy with myself. I'm not very proud of myself. So just recently I had a conversation with them. Now my kids are very old, and it was nice to have a conversation. I was like, okay, if I were to go back in time, and I would have played so much more with you guys. I didn't want to stay curled up in the room, shut the
lights
door
off.
and lights off.
Oh,
and
those were
just-
times that you had to do that?
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes. I mean, I would have played something with them more than anything else. But yeah, I mean, I couldn't do better. So, yeah.
And then what happened, And
So-
now gets the interesting part.
Now
What-
gets the interesting part. So I had a friend, and a friend used to always tell me to read this book, You Can Heal Your Life. This is the book.
the exact same book?
Yeah, the exact same book. So this is the
Can I
book.
see that?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, it's a beautiful copy.
Yeah, it is. It is a gift edition, and it's back from.
Oh, wow. It's signed by Louise here.
Yes, this was when I met her in 2011.
Yeah.
That is. So this copy was with me since 2006.
Wow.
6 or 7 or 8. I don't remember exactly the timeline. But a friend of mine kept on telling me to read the book. And I'm like, fuck this shit. Books don't cure migraines. Doctors do. Medicines work. And all this, you can heal your life. And all that is nice. And
I love the way you...
yeah, I'm like... I mean, अगर और गालियाँ बोल सकती थी तो मैं बोल देती थी. I've grown up with boys and that's how we've always spoken. So
हम तो mambo jumbo
हाँ,
और क्या-क्या बोलते
exactly.
हैं
I'm
इसको? ये
like
सब-
bullshit है ये, nonsense है. Science बताओ, papers बताओ, तब बात करेंगे. And that is what real stuff is. But back then, our favorite place was Landmark Bookstore in Lokhandwala in Mumbai. And those days, bookstores used to have books more than toys. And even the watchman knew us of that store. So that was my comfort place because the kids would go read their thing. They were toddlers. One was 3, the other one was 5, 6. And they would just play around and read their books, and I could read mine. And one of these days, I still remember so clearly, it was a Thursday evening, 5:15. I have to reach my clinic by 5:30, 5:45, and these kids are not to be found. And they are bloody
It was a big
hiding.
store, I remember.
Yeah, it is
It was
a big store. It was a big store. And they would go and bloody curl up in some place and with a book or something, and I don't even know why. But I just could not find them. And while I was walking, this exact book fell on my foot. Now, imagine you're coffee starved. You want to rush to your clinic. There is traffic. You can't find your kids. You can't leave them there. And a bloody heavy book falls on your foot. A book that claims to cure your migraine. And you already have a migraine. So how irritated can that be? Irritated can you get, right? How worse can it get? And that's when I put the book back. And I again looked for the kids. And I didn't find them.
Did you read the cover of the book? Or you just...
I was like, this is a bullshit. This is a nonsensical thing that my friend kept talking about. And I was like, yeah, right. It looks all pretty nice and purple and all healing and all bullshit. So I quite had a thing that, ये फिरंग लोग कुछ भी लिख देते हैं, white skinned है, old है, ये है, वो है, तो they can claim anything. And who is she, by the way? She's not even a doctor, so I didn't care. So yeah, again, second round in Landmark bookstore, the same, the children to bache to mile nahi. The book again.
On the same day?
Yeah, the same time.
So the book literally fell on your foot?
Yeah, the first time it fell, I put it. The second time it fell again, I thought I didn't put it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
You know how you are. You just pick up and you just put it that way. But then eventually, I was like, anyways, I can't find the kids. Let me just open the book and look at what migraine means. So he had said that there is a table in this book which talks about illnesses and... okay. Sorry? Okay, mine. Okay. I'm doing this for the first time. So illnesses and a probable cause and an affirmation. Okay. So Louise says that every thought pattern has a probable cause to an illness. So when I read headaches, it read something about perfectionism. Right? And Louise, in one of the book pages over here that opened up, like the chapter which is the body, it said that people who are cursed with perfectionism often have migraines and headaches. And I'm like, this woman really knows nothing about getting better in life. These Americans are just content with where they are. And what is wrong with perfectionism? What is wrong with getting better? What is wrong with being critical of yourself? I mean, that's what we've learned. That's what we've grown up with. So.
And have you been a perfectionist all your life?
Well, you'll see. There was no coincidence that I had migraines throughout, right?
Of course.
I was always...
As a rebel also?
As a rebel also. So see, the perfectionist is exactly what the rebel is, na? That I will do it my way and I'll win at it, right?
My way or the highway kind
Yeah,
of
and what was I rebelling? I was not rebelling to my parents. I was not rebelling. I was rebelling to the world, to the society, So it was not a rebel that would be seen outside to the world. It was, I was setting my own milestones and I was only beating those milestones. Right. So that whole idea of being critical of yourself, show me a room and I'll find you what needs to be cleaned.
Do you yet do that?
Not anymore, because now I know that what is my room and what is not my room, you know. But at that point of time, I just thought that being a perfectionist, being on time, raising perfect kids, having perfect practice is a way of life. And if it is not that way, then you just have to work hard towards getting it better. And the way you get it better is to always look for what's wrong and to always be critical of that. Because if you're going to not be critical, then you're going to just become one lazy slouch and do nothing. So for me, it was such a way of life. And to be fair, I think my parents also did not discourage that. There was a lot of encouragement in the society also. Mm-hmm. That if you're hard on yourself, then you're a good doctor.
Of course, we see that everywhere, right? It's yet prevalent.
Not just as a doctor. If you're hard on yourself as a daughter. I remember during my medicine exams, my mother had to actually call my grandmother. Because for 8 days, 10 days, 20 days, I would not eat. I would only throw up. I would be so anxious. I would not sleep entire nights and I would just keep scamming and studying and writing and making notes and practicing and stuff. Then my mother said that she had no mental bandwidth to deal with it. And I remember clearly, this is so horrible, but in my second year final exam, my mother had to come to drop me because I could faint also. And I remember getting out of my center, I think it was JJ or Nair, I don't remember which one. And I came out crying and I said, Mom, I don't think so I'm going to make it this time. And she slapped me. That's the only time she slapped me. She said, I don't care what the results are. For now, just let me breathe. Because with my exams, I think she could not be able to...
So the perfectionist wanted to do well.
Everything had to be well. Like,
and did you search up perfectionist in the book?
I did, actually. And like I said, that I had no intention of practicing the book. But after a few days, that was a Thursday that the book fell, I did not buy the book.
Okay, yet you didn't buy the book. Oh, wow, this is more interesting.
Bullshit.
ये कौन खरीदेगा?
I know. ऐसे सब तभी उस जमाने में 1,000 रुपए की बुक थी.
ओ बाप रे.
तो कौन खरीदेगा यार? I'd rather buy a medical book on it. So But on a Monday morning, when my headache came,
Monday blues.
which I knew would come, and Louise had mentioned a statement that notice what you're making yourself wrong for.
So you did glance at the book on
Yeah,
that?
just because anyways I was not able to find the kids.
Of course.
And I had to prove her wrong. So Monday morning when that headache came and that statement came to my mind that what are you making yourself wrong for? And I realized I was late by 15 minutes. And I hate myself being late. And I would always say I could have managed the time well. I could have done something lesser. I could have done something better. I could have stayed up late. कुछ तो कर ही सकती थी कि I would have reached on time. Now, even if the clinic is empty, I don't care. If it's 9 on the board, I should be at 9 in the clinic. And 15 minutes and I had a headache started. And then I didn't intend to practice, but I just said, okay, I know I'm late, fair. And that day I didn't get a headache.
Oh, wow.
So that was the first time after 4 years, it was like an aha for me that how come I don't have a headache?
So the logical mind wants to question that ये कैसे हुआ?
Correct. I still didn't want to buy the book. I was too proud. But then that week again, every week we used to have bookstore visits. So this time we were going through crossword.
Was Friday night date good that time?
I don't remember. It was only Monday. But Wednesday or Thursday I went. I got that book.
Okay, that same week.
Yeah, that same week. Because every week we used to go one of the days to one of the bookstores. So I got the book. I got that entire set for myself. And I found the courage to read it. And the moment I started reading it, I could not put it down. And then I found myself keeping that book on my left-hand side of my, that
bedside.
Yeah, not my bedside, my clinic.
Okay, the work table, right.
And with every patient would come in, I would listen to them or talk to them. Being a family physician, I had that advantage of listening to their stories.
It's not numbers, right?
Yeah. And for me, it was always, I was always, again, a black sheep in the family medicine also, because it's never about just the symptoms and treatment. It was always about what's going on in your house, housework, what's happening with the kids, what's happening with your parents. And that's when I started seeing is that, gastritis means uncertainty. So I would slowly open the book and try to see what is written. तब तो फोन और गूगल और वो सब नहीं हुआ करता था. And then I would say how's work? No, job में बहुत uncertainty है. I still remember तभी वो कुछ Vodafone के पहले क्या था?
Idea.
Orange color thingy.
Orange.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, orange.
And that fellow was telling me how hard it is for him, how uncertain things are. And then I was no doubt you have gastritis. Gastritis is uncertainty. So I would give them medicines. I would listen to their stories and I would just kind of casually put in an affirmation, not even ask them to practice it, but I was don't worry, kuch na kuch to ho hi jayega. It's not the first time in history that uncertainty is coming. Right? And then a patient called up saying is that, I forgot the medicines in your clinic only. On my way back from work, I will pick it up. And I said, but how are you feeling? And he said, I'm actually very well. I don't think so. I really would need the medicines, but since you've given, I would take them. Then I would tell them, okay, keep the packet with you, but take it only if you need it tomorrow morning.
Nice.
And that's how I started experimenting, And then I found the courage to give people the book. Then I started keeping 3-4 copies of it. Gift edition nahi mila, but the other ones. And I'd start telling people is that, are you irritated by something? Are you fearful of something? And then slowly and steadily, I started seeing my case papers. As family physicians, we have each patient case paper. I started seeing the
patterns. That's when your research.
Exactly.
So rather than bookstores, this is where
that's when I started doing. And then I started having more faith and I started seeing more results. And in 2011, I, along with a work colleague, actually he was my patient, Sunil Shah, and his wife Urvi. They came to me for one wife had come for weight loss, husband had come for B12 injections. And back then I would give this book to everyone. जिसको experiment करना है करो, पढ़ो. Internet है नहीं, what do you call, Wi-Fi नहीं है तो range नहीं है, cell phone range नहीं है. So read the book. And they came back with questions and they asked me that why don't we take this work forward. So that's how we started Love Heals. And I participated in the workshop. I found out that there was a workshop for this and I was very curious. And I think it was a horrible experience for me. I don't put it on the teacher. I think it was me resisting the work so much. It was my kind of form of catharsis. And again, like I say, that back in 2011, I think my daughter was home and it was so hard. 3 children, my mother-in-law, everything. I mean, I think everything was falling apart in my life. I was so exhausted that my husband said that, please take a break. Go to the US. My family lives in the US. He said, go spend some time with your brother, your sister. Just chill. I mean, you don't even know your life without children and patients. And this workshop is happening there, training. Please go pay the money. I'll pay the money. And I'm like, you're mad or what? You know how many lakh of rupees is this? I'm never going to get you that money back. Like, I don't care.
Just go.
Yeah, just go. And I'm like thinking, do you know the cover is You Can Heal Your Life, not You Can Heal Your Wife.
Maybe that's the title of the book he writes.
Yeah, I think he misunderstood that. You can heal your wife. I'll give any amount of money if she gets it less irritable.
Believe me, that book's a bestseller. If the husbands get to know that there's a book, Heal Your Wife, that book's a bestseller. 1 billion copies, forget 1 million.
Yeah, right. So that is how I was planning to go to the US.
Right.
I still remember I used to drive a black Chevrolet Captiva, a huge car. I got down. I cried a lot because I was exhausted. And then I realized that I have to figure this out myself. I picked up the phone. I told my husband's assistant, please don't book my tickets. Please don't pay up the money. I am going to figure this out myself. I don't have the courage to spend so much money on something that I don't even know I believe in or not. I hung up that phone. I got a call from a random stranger thanking me in Marathi and saying that you are a miracle and you have cured my nephew's cancer. And I said, I don't even know you. Who am I to cure someone's cancer? Like, no, you have given us a book and we followed the book cover to cover and his cancer is cured. He had blood cancer.
Wow.
And he is now healed. He gave his 10th standard exam. And I said, I haven't given you any book. He's like, no, you haven't given. Your husband has.
Oh.
Your husband has told us that my wife is doing some research since 4 years about a book on healing. And if you follow the book cover to cover, everything will be all right. And I took that call as a message.
This is the second intervention.
Just when I said do not book, this lady calls up exactly the same time between me taking my bag and walking until the elevator and telling me this. So then I said, okay, fine, I'll go ahead and I'll get myself certified in this.
Nice.
And since then, I've never looked back. I mean, I've studied...
2011.
2011, yes.
Yeah.
So I still practice allopathy and I still use... I mean, every time I know... So I know if there is an event in the family or something that I'm organizing and the perfectionist Deval wants to show her best foot porn, I am sure I'm going to get a migraine. No? So then I go to the bathroom, I do some mirror work, I do my exercises.
And it's all part of the course that you're learning.
Yeah, and I let myself be imperfect.
Wow.
And that's when I know I can abort a migraine. I know when I get a migraine. So that's how it is.
Okay. So they will tell us more about your journey with the book. The book fell and you started reading it like a little notes for that. But what was your journey with the book? What happened when you looked at the perfectionist? Did you start getting more inquisitive about yourself?
So I think a lot of the seeds, this was just a manifestation of those seeds. When I was working as a locum, like a doctor, and at one of my teacher's places, there was a book called The Road Less Traveled. And back then, he had told me that if you don't have patience, you can just read this book. And I was thinking is that why would he not give me a medicine book? Why would he give me this book? But I think that book, The Road Less Traveled, was something that I read. Not very happily, but I still did. Having said that, I always saw that in my family practice, it was quite frustrating that sometimes the patient is doing everything right and you're giving every medicine correct and the patient does not get better or gets better and comes back again. Right? Sometimes I was quite tired of telling the patient, stress kam karo, वजन कम करो, exercise बढ़ाओ, खाना कम करो, या तो viral है. So these were only 5 or 6 gine-chune reasons which I had to tell my patients, when somewhere deep down there was like a huge appetite. Like I wanted to tell them that there could be something more. I don't know what it is, but we will figure this. Right? But since I didn't know what it was, I could never figure it. So I think this book was a manifestation of that. Why do people do what they do? Why do people get sick? When physiologically we are not supposed to fall sick. We have a body which is so self-healing, and yet we are at the mercy of pills and medicines. And I don't have anything against pills, by the way. That is one thing that I really feel that the world needs to know, that allopathy medicine is not bad. Right? A lot of people have an ego, like blood pressure ki dawai nahi khayenge, diabetes ki dawai nahi khayenge. No, medicines are not bad. But also look at the underlying causes behind why you picked up that illness. So this book was an answer to that part of my craving, that why do people fall sick? And that's when I started reading, and that's when I started realizing, oh, my mother has high blood pressure. Let me see what is her probable cause. Does she have a similar pattern? Or some aunt has anemia. She has low hemoglobin. And what could be the probable cause to that? So that is how I started experimenting. For me, otherwise I'm a very asocial person. But this helped me. Right. Because now everything was a playground for me. I would just go observe people's patterns and then connect with the medical illnesses.
Did you go tell them?
No, I would never open my mouth. Because I was not too sure myself. Plus I was quite not ready to share what I was observing, because it would have occurred as a judgment, and I was not there to fix things about
For your
them.
children, for your husband, more closer?
I would not tell them. I would experiment with them.
Okay.
So I remember this one time when my son had come from school. I think he was 7, and he picked up a fever, monsoon. So viral fever. So came back from school, 103, 104. Now, I'm not someone who gives medicines very easily. I would observe. And my child to mere samne hi hai. So I was not scared of 104. I would ask him, do you think you want medicine? He's like, no, I'm okay. Then he slept for a good 2 hours, and then he woke up. And I, in the meanwhile, opened the book and read.
Okay.
Fever is pent-up anger. And I am thinking, what would a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old have anger about? Right? Sure. Then I asked him, what was the day at school? What happened? And this and that. And then he said, oh, today somebody threw my shoe out of the bus. And then I was so angry and I was so scared. If I was a big boy, I would have punched things in his face. But I'm not a big boy. And I had to get down of the bus and I had to go and walk around the bus. And I was so scared. But I picked up the shoe and I came back. But when I grow up, I will punch a hole in his face. And I'm like, wow, this makes sense. I'm like, I'm not giving him a paracetamol. I'm still going to wait and watch. And in an hour's time, his fever.
So he had spoken. Did the fact that he spoke about his anger?
I think so. I think so. So for me, everything was an experiment, right?
And how was, how was the creator in you, the doctor in you? How was the person within you dealing with all these experiments?
See, for me
like
now,
so many
the
aha
door
moments,
had opened.
right?
Now the door had opened. Like, now it was just about collecting evidences. I was not someone who was going to prove allopathy wrong.
Right.
I was not going to become a Janda person of a spokesperson for Louise's work.
But you were just enjoying the journey.
I was just enjoying the process, and all I was interested is that if I can give my patients more tools to a healthier, happier life, then why not? That was my only agenda, right? So when someone came to me with a backache, I would secretly look at it. Oh, is it the middle back, upper back, lower back? And most of the women came with an upper back. And then I would ask them about how's life, what's happening with your husband. And upper back is always about feeling unloved. And then I would get to know is that husbands are busy, blah, 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 blah. Or lower back for men, and that is financial insecurities. Then I'm like, makes sense. So that is when I started noticing all the, when we were kids, we used to have that book, Connect the Dots.
Of course. So
1, 2, 3, 4. So first you connect it and it looks like a big...
Did you have like a journal you kept on?
Yeah. No, I didn't keep a journal. But for me, the journal was quite... I was too excited about the whole thing.
It must be in a fun time, right? It's like a child in a play store, right?
For me, one thing that has never stopped since I was a child is having fun. if it's not fun, it's not worth doing it.
Of course.
Climb a tree, play football, study medicine, treat a patient, get hit by a bike. It all has to be fun. If there's no fun, it's pointless.
So for you, I think at this point of time, you're sort of exploring both worlds because you knew diagnosis. You know, the allopathy gave great diagnosis, and of course you had the medicines that you knew worked with the symptoms, and then you found Louise's book, which sort of started telling you more about the cures, the emotional causes. Is that the right word?
The probable cause to an emotional.
So, what would you say? Why do we fall sick? What are diseases telling us?
I'll go a little. That's a very deep, profound question, but I do believe because you're transporting me from 2011 to 2023, 24.
Right. And I'm going back and forth every time,
yeah,
right?
which is okay, which is fair because that's how life is. But what I learned while I was only looking at the physical body is, and as I also started reading the other parts, like, the inner child work and stuff, I started uncovering so many patterns. And I am one child who does not complain about life. I did not have abusive parents. I did not have parents who neglected me.
You had parents giving you bundles of 50,000 rupees.
Correct.
Right?
I had great parents. I had a simple life. I really had a good life. Of course, I had my share of abuse and molestation and whatever. But I started recognizing, where did my perfection come from? Why did I become the way I became? And that was very interesting for me, as back in 2007 and 8. And I'm like, okay, when did I decide that I'll be this kind of a mother? When did I decide I want to have kids? So it was like all a reflection on my...
Like a timeline.
Yeah, like my timeline. Okay, this is what had happened. That is what happened. So the inner child work was great for me. It was catharsis of sorts. I revisited a lot of my childhood memories, a lot of my childhood friends, my ups, my downs, my loneliness, why I started climbing trees all the time, why I was always found on trees, why I always played football. And it all started making so much sense, and all I could do was only cry. Because I realized that girl really didn't know better. She didn't have friends on ground. So she had to climb trees and make friends with the leaves and the butterflies and the
other creatures
over there, and count the ants and wonder why do ants walk in a straight line and how do they not get lost.
They became her friends.
Yeah, so those kind of questions, that sense of wonder, that peru ka jhaad, that wanting to get the best marks so that everybody's proud of me.
That's the perfection.
Yeah, and I was not a pretty kid. Okay, I was not a pretty kid at all. I think as an adult, maybe I have turned prettier. Yes, but I still don't believe that I am pretty enough. But that was not the point anyways now. But back then, when we were 14 and 15, it was important to look good, right? And I hadn't got my periods. All my friends had budded and they were nice and very well endowed, and I had literally nothing. I was quite sure that I may not be a girl at all. Something's really wrong. I was hairy. And all my neighbors, whoever came home, would always talk about my sister, who was so pretty and so many people after her. I never had one guy ever propose to me. I had great friends, best friends, but nobody ever noticed me that you're a girl who's pretty.
Of course.
Back in school, the other day I was talking to my daughter, and it was interesting that she said that, did you go through bullying? And I said, you know what, Soumya, I wish I was bullied.
Somebody would have noticed me.
And she was like, what? Why would you even wish that for yourself? I said, Soumya, that way at least I would have existed.
Wow. So your perfection was to exist.
I am in a school of 3,000 kids. I have 60 children in my class, and I don't think so more than 4 people know my name. They just know me as girly. And at this point, so the inner child journey was so deep and so hurtful and so lonely. But I never realized it because I was busy climbing trees and busy being a perfectionist.
And is that a defense mechanism that you consciously, subconsciously created? To me, it makes sense, right? If you want to exist, you want to get noticed.
But I don't think so. I really, I had built my own world for myself in my head. That we will have a life like this. We will study well. We will climb trees. We will play football. We will have the few friends that you have.
So how long was this journey of decoding migraine? Because you read the book.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Right.
I don't think so.
Was there a structure that you followed? Because you read the book, you understood migraine, you understood your migraine is perfection. And then I'm sure you experimented, got deeper and deeper. And what's the journey to understand where the perfection came from? Because that's where the solution lies, right?
But one mistake that we all make as healers, and I would not call myself a healer, but people who are on the healing journey, I would call myself that, is to try and seek the destination.
It's a journey.
It's a journey and it's a process, and there is no timeline to it.
True.
It's like Louise says this in one of her books, that how long is a piece of thread? You never know.
Right.
For me, there were days when I would really have no migraines attack at all. And then there would be one day when I would have a bad migraine. And then I would think about it, what am I not doing correctly? What am I making myself wrong for? And I'm like, fuck, it's about the exercise. I didn't do the exercise correct. I have to do it again.
Again, the perfection.
Exactly. So it was like such a process, slowly and steadily. And then, of course, I completed the book. I did mirror work intensely. I started observing in other people. And you have to also understand that part, that there was always a skeptic who was with me. So I'm that non-believer who read the book to prove that this is bullshit. And the same person is also crying and weeping and sobbing her loneliness and her sadness. So there's a part of me that's healing, and then there's a part of me that's like, okay, this can't be real. You've built a pretty good life for yourself. You're happy, you're successful, you have kids, you have a husband, you have a good car, you don't have anything to worry about. All this is, let's not look at it. And then there was that softer part of me that went on digging in further. I read The Course in Miracles, which is another. This one of the books that Louise also had studied, The Course in Miracles. It's written by two psychologists, Helen Schuckman and Bill Thetford. And we recently completed the first cover-to-cover study group of 20 people.
Wow.
In fact, about this book, it is said that this is owned by millions, but only a few thousands have read it. And
can I cancel the pages?
Sure. Of course. The Course in Miracles is just 3 lines.
Wow.
Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists.
Oh, Rumi.
Herein lies the peace of God. No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I've read it so many times.
Wow.
So there are 365.
It's a really thick book.
Yeah, there are 365 lessons in it. It's a lot of good stuff in there.
Okay. It's a lot of pages.
Yeah.
Oh, it's chapters, so it's not. Oh, wow, I like it. It's almost 400 pages. Wow.
No, it's a 680 pages text. Then there is a manual for teachers. Then there are 365 lessons. So then I started studying everything that Louise had studied from. So James Allen, Bernie Siegel, Ernst Holmes.
She had cancer, right?
She did have cancer.
And she healed her own cancer, from what I understand.
Yes.
Am I getting the story right?
Yes.
And then she went ahead to write the books.
Correct.
And then she also started the Hay House Publishing.
Yes, she did. So the 16th chapter is her story of her childhood, how she was raped.
So is this a book that everyone should read?
I think you need courage. And even if you don't have the courage to read it, find the courage to buy it.
What's the book called?
You Can Heal Your Life
Okay.
by Louise. And you will find your answers whenever. Open any page and you will find something relevant. She's written on prosperity. She's written on the inner child. She's written on relationships, on success, why we think what we think, how our subconscious works. It's everything that's simplified in one book.
So when you found out that the cause of your migraine is perfection, is it standard for everyone?
Well, as I said that, when I started studying a lot from other teachers whom Louise had studied from, and plus I'm a physician, I started putting a lot of other modalities also in place. And that's where I could start helping people that perfectionism has so many forms.
Of course.
Sometimes it could be, I'm not a perfectionist, I'm just critical of myself.
True. That's also
right? Right? I am not a perfectionist, I am not critical of myself. I click so many selfies, I love myself, I buy myself expensive books, expensive things, expensive bags. And then I gorge on that dark chocolate because I can't handle my sadness.
So it's the cover, the facade that you carry.
So I would not call it the facade. I just know one thing, Hitesh, is that I think we're all little children who do not know better. We just are coping with the stuff that we can't handle it. And I have compassion and I have love. And I think we're all entitled to our coping mechanisms. Right, wrong, there's no judgment to it. And I think Louise has this vision of building a world which is free of judgment. I think I carry that within me, that with every workshop that I lead or facilitate, with every coaching that I have or every program that I facilitate, I just have that vision that this is one more person who's learning how to love themselves and the world's a better place.
What would the Deval of today tell the Deval of the Deval who got the book the very first day?
I think she was wise.
And what do you think the Deval of that age would tell the Deval of today?
That's interesting. I've never thought of it that way.
What if she saw you and you came face to face with her? The skeptic, the
yeah. I'm just thinking, I'm like, bitch, I didn't know you could get here.
Wow. You did get here.
I did get here.
When you look at perfectionism and you spoke about inner child and your beliefs, were you ever angry at your parents?
Of course. Yeah. Of course. It is funny that how I have told my children, I'm going to leave you only enough money for education and therapy. That's it. I'm not getting you guys married. I'm not buying you houses. There's only money for your education and your therapy because that is on me.
Of course. That trauma is a parent.
The trauma is a parental thing. So as much as I think all our parents did the best that they could.
Of course. There's no book about parenting.
Exactly.
Right?
I mean, I remember yelling at my kids one of the days is that too bad you guys are upset with me. None of you came with a manual. I was just so frustrated. I was like, you guys didn't come with a manual, so don't expect me to be that perfect parent.
Right.
And so my father was a very protective parent.
Mm-hmm.
And I was upset with him that he never let me see the world. Right?
Right.
My mother taught me how to save. And I would get upset with her is that she never taught me what abundance was.
Of course.
Right? My father gave me the abundance, and then I'm upset that he never taught me boundaries. How convenient is that, right? So I think as children, we are entitled to be upset with our parents. But the beauty of inner child work is, Hitesh, is that I become my parent now.
So the adult of today.
Yes. So now I have my inner child, I have the world outside, and then I have the adult. So now I'm going to tell that inner child is that whatever you did not get from your parents, I am here to give that to you. So no point in blaming, oh, my father did not do this for me, my mother did not do that for me. Bullshit. The buck stops there. Now, Louise's work is so simple. She says the point of power is always in the present moment.
Of course. The past is over, the future is not here as yet.
But when it comes to claiming power over a situation, why did this not happen? Why did that not happen? Why did I not get an opportunity to do this? Why did I not get an... Fuck this shit. The point of power is in the present. What do you want to do now? How do you want to reclaim your power? You want to grieve? I am here for that. You want to sulk? I'm here for that. You want to break things? I'm here for that. But, so that beauty of that inner child work and that claiming the power back is what can actually help you cure any illness.
Of course.
Find you the right teachers, find the right courage, and whatever else you need.
So would I be right to say that we subconsciously attract these illnesses in our space?
You need. I think every illness comes as a teacher. I am a student of anthroposophic medicine also.
Of course.
I'm studying that for the last 5 years now. I've completed my anthroposophic psychotherapy and now I'm doing my medicine. For people who don't understand this, it is a very complicated word. It was
Steiner medicine.
Yeah, it is by Rudolf Steiner, and world across there are anthroposophic hospitals.
Yes, Switzerland I think
Switzerland
has one of the best ones.
Germany has, a lot of other countries have. In India, we do not yet have one, but it's spiritual holistic medicine. It is integrated medicine. And one thing that I foundationally learned in my first year is that illness is a spiritual awakening.
Wow.
And in hindsight, I can see that had I not the migraine, I would have never picked this book up.
So you attract these medicines at a spiritual, these diseases at a spiritual level.
Yeah.
So that you can understand
Correct.
what your traumas are, what patterns you carry.
Absolutely.
And do you think we pass these patterns on to our children?
I think it's also for the children to pick it up.
Of course, it's their journey also.
Of course, it is for them to pick it up as well. But yes, if you notice, we always do exactly the opposite of what we wanted as our inner child wanted. And we think that if I do that for my inner child, then my inner child will be healed.
Of course.
So let's say if I wanted to play the piano and I couldn't play the piano, and now when my son plays the piano, I feel so proud and so happy.
I did that. My mother told me, go live the life that she could never live.
Yeah, exactly. So subconsciously, we are anyways doing that, right?
Nice.
And I think it's important that we recognize that when we are raising kids, what patterns are we living by? And what patterns are we passing on?
So, in a nutshell, what we're saying is, I don't know if I can say all diseases, but I think most of the diseases can be resolved in this lifetime. And you spoke about the case of cancer.
Yeah. See, I'll tell you what. I think it's a karmic choice that one makes whether I want to resolve or I do not want to resolve.
I think the karmic destiny will get you to the book like the book fell on.
Correct. And it could be any pathy. It could be an allopathy. It could be Ayurveda. It could be homeopathy. It could be Unani. It could be a chiropractor. It could be a plant. It could be you close your eyes and you just have an aha about something. It could be anything.
And that could make the disease go away.
And that could make the disease go away. But see, I do not want to say this is because it's like a guest I invited and now I want them to go away.
Of course. I think once you learn the lesson.
Then the illness in all probabilities resolves itself. These days we have to be politically correct also. But more than that, this is in interest of patients because a lot of people have an aversion to allopathy medicine and they come to me, tell me, no, हमको Louise वाला रास्ता बताओ, हमको allopathy नहीं खानी है.
Yeah, but that's a growing trend, right? People don't want to pop pills anymore.
I understand that, but pills are also...
Of course. If you break... What I believe is if you break your hand or if you break a bone, you have to go to the orthopedic.
Correct.
If you break the bone twice, you could go to the orthopedic, but also work and why are you breaking it twice?
Exactly. So even the first time that you break a bone, you can go to the orthopedic and you can look for the probable cause.
Why did this bone break? Why did I slip on a banana peel?
Exactly. Why would I do that to myself? Why was I punishing myself? Or whatever the reason is. So therapy really works. In fact, now I have a lot of clients whom we work not only with problems.
Do you see a lot of migraine clients coming to you?
I do. I see all kinds of clients.
Migraine is there like a lot of migraines?
Yes. See, the world is filled with perfectionism and denial.
I'm hoping with this video that you get many more migraine clients.
I really wish I can help. I would actually like to have a support group of migraine.
Absolutely. We would love that. You should do that.
I want to have support group for migraines, for PCOS, for so many other conditions that I've worked with. And being a physician, I feel that there is so much more. It's beyond just the thought. It's also nutrition. It's also the lifestyle. It's also the patterns, the thinking and stuff like that. But so I would want to say this disclaimer that this is not a substitute to medicine.
Agreed.
Right? This is something that is healing from within. This is helping you. Your illness is giving you a glimpse of your subconscious patterns that you don't even know. Had you met me in 2006 and told me, Deval, you are a perfectionist, I would have said, of course I am. I take pride in it. And you would have told me, Deval, you're not being fair to yourself. I'd be like, dude, you don't even know me. Right? I would have denied it. Migraine pushed me against the wall to look within.
So the ideal thing is if you have migraine, go to a doctor, take your medicine.
Please do.
At the same time, start understanding that there is a bigger reason, a bigger awakening, or whatever you want to call it, for the migraine to come in your space. And start walking that journey to
towards healing yourself. Yeah.
And then start controlling your migraine.
Yeah. And that's why I say that I'm not the healer.
Of course. You are the healer. Oh, wow. That was so beautiful, right?
I am not the healer. I am just walking. What do you say? My thing is that therapy sessions go the way. It's like two friends. We're just getting to know each other. Right. And we are walking together on a path when there is none. So I'm going to hold the furnace, which is the lamp. because you're tired right now
Of course.
and you have things to talk, and I'll just hold it and I'll listen. And every once in a while, I'll just remind you there could be a stone here.
Sure.
Or
sure,
there could be
sure.
something here. I don't know what's your destination.
If you have to trip, you will
Right?
trip.
You will trip. I'm going to be nursing your wounds.
Right.
And once in a while, when you will sit back and say, I don't want to move on, I will remind you that you can. And when you're ready, I'll hand you the lamp.
It's a beautiful
Right?
way to describe what a healer or therapist's
Exactly. So
role
that's what I
again is.
say. I am not the healer.
You are the healer.
You are the healer. I'm just holding the lamp for you.
The
And it's your
guide,
lamp.
The guide, the facilitator, whatever you want to call it.
Absolutely.
It's been lovely chatting with you, Deval.
Thank you
you
so
much
much.
for
Thank you so
removing
much.
time for us.
I just hope, Hitesh, I think you're doing so wonderful. And I just hope for the audience also is that they keep the sense of wonder and that sense of curiosity alive.
Yeah.
You know, we are in a world which is filled with miracles, which is filled with wonderment. And I think we just need to start looking at them. We just need to start affirming that good things are happening around us. And with more people like you, I think we're not too far away.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You know, and I think the book says it. I think we all say it. I heard this a long time back. The miracle is you. The human body is such a miracle. Every second, every moment of our life, there are miracles happening in our body. I mean, right from oxygen giving us life to our heart that purifies blood, to everything, to the whole digestive system. It's filled with millions and billions and trillions of miracles, our human body. We are joining hands. We're a community of people who are, where our goal is to create more awareness about alternate healing. We invite guests like Deval, speakers like Deval from our community to create more awareness and tell everyone there is a way to live your life in a better way out there. The pain can end. The pain is a gift. It's a blessing in disguise, you know, to tell us what we need to really work on. So embrace it and don't deny it. Thank you so much and goodbye.